Sci-Fi Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Alrighty then, it's another Thursday night, which means another Docking Bay 94. Good evening, everybody. Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby here with you.
Jeff Donoho way over here.
And Colleen, Kaylee, Crosby back over here.
All right. You could be listening to us over on sci-fi.radio. It's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. We're here every Thursday night doing this. Or you could be watching us on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch. I'm going to fire up our chat over here so I can see what people are talking about. And in the meantime, thanks for being here.
Woo! And right away, Alan is watching on YouTube.
Woo!
So there you go.
Right on.
Lori's on Facebook. But that's all I see so far. Up there we go. There's Skydance Dawn.
Yeah, Don is here on Twitch. Boba-Kit is here on Twitch. Alrighty. How's everybody's week been?
Ooh,
Slow.
busy. Work week anyway. I'm busy. Yeah.
I mean, work's been busy, but
Yeah.
my personal life has been slow.
Yeah. I mean, the normal, weekend stuff, I was kind of busy. I did the LA Zoo with Sean, which was something that was my first troop back in, 2011, I think.
Yeah, it was 11 years ago that we did that.
Wow.
Well,
Definitely wacky.
Yeah. Ow. It was my first one. And that was something else, because it was nighttime for one thing, but yeah.
Well, and
a lot shorter.
I added into that one at the very last minute. Somebody bailed out, and they bailed out right before the event started, and so they posted to the rest of us and said, if anybody wants to come do it. And I said, well, if I can get there late, I'll do it. And so I got there an hour into the event, and it only ran for another hour.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, LA traffic, I'm surprised you got there at all.
Well, I used to work in Griffith Park, and I used to work across from the zoo. In fact, if you walk across the parking lot, there's a bunch of trailers there, and I used to work right there. So I kind of know the shortcuts, but part of the problem is that people kept getting into altercations, and so, you'd get stuck behind somebody who had a little fender bender, and you're like, oh. And I ended up taking some crazy surface streets. I went up through Coldwater Canyon. I went across on Mulholland Drive. I was on a lot of really interesting roads I have not taken the new car in yet.
Oh, wow.
I used to go through those canyons all the time in the 350Z, which is a very sporty, much smaller vehicle. And it's sort of designed for that kind of thing. This is a little more of a land yacht. And it was a big challenge to kind of, whip through there. It was fun, though. I enjoyed myself. But, also, it took me quite a while to get there.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So did you guys you went inside the zoo in costume?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's fun. So it was much like the Orange County one, except a bigger zoo.
Well, it's the Los Angeles Zoo. It's a major zoo.
It is definitely bigger. We were sequestered to two different areas. And
What
in between
areas?
Them. Yeah. We were at the over by the elephant area, and gosh, what was the other? I guess the area is pretty much over by the opening.
It was the kids area, sort of the kids zone.
So the petting zoo.
Yeah, which wasn't open because it was nighttime, but it was like the kids area.
Well, that's a bummer.
And by the time I got there, people had abandoned the kids area for the elephant enclosure. And so going back to 2011 when we did the very first and only event at the LA Zoo, because the guy who was in charge at the time, Jason, was a huge Star Wars fan, and he's like, "Let's do this. This would be great." They had just finished that elephant enclosure.
Yeah.
And so now, here it is like a decade later. And apparently the only reason they didn't have us back is they kept forgetting about us, which is annoying because I kept like sending them a note every once in a while going, hey guys, remember that cool Star Wars thing we did? Let's do that again. Yeah. And then they're like, hey, whatever.
Well, I mean, Tyler's there now, so it might be a regular gig now.
Right. We had an inside guy is how we got in this time. So
yeah.
Tyler's a member of the Rebel Legion, and he's also working there. So that worked out pretty well. Yeah.
It wasn't because it was a private party sort of situation, like the After Dark thing.
Right.
So we were able to see a couple animals before it got dark, and they pretty much put them all to sleep, put them all in their beds, as it were. We didn't really see a whole lot of the zoo, to be honest.
Well, certainly not once it got dark.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. This is true. But it was fun.
Yeah, they made it for me because we were walking around and we were doing stuff, and somebody flagged me down and like, wait, these guys are chasing you down. They're looking for Luke Skywalker. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so that was good. But man, it was hot. It was muggy. It's been muggy here for the past week. And that's been sticky and gross.
Maybe it was like a pre-thing to the storm, maybe?
Yeah, so if you haven't paying attention to California weather, which why would you if you don't live here, we were supposed to have a hurricane which got downgraded to a tropical storm, which basically hit California with a lot of rain, but none of the sort of tropical storm sort of trademarks. We didn't have crazy wind. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff. It was really sort of a letdown. It did prompt us to get our driveway cleaned up, although our garage door broke in the midst of us doing that, so that was a
they
challenge.
Haven't responded to my plea for them to come back yet,
to come do warranty repair, so I'm sure we're low on their list. And then there was also, in the midst of this, like on Sunday, I guess, a 5.1 earthquake centered in Ojai. And if you don't know Ojai, it's where the $6 Million Man is from. It's where Steve Austin lives.
Also, it's just south of Santa Barbara.
Right.
It's a little bit easier for most people to understand.
But it's less fun.
Right.
There's just lots of rain.
Yeah. So where we are, we feel like any earthquake that happens out in the ocean, we get that. If it happens in downtown, we get that. But we got like one little shock, just enough of a jolt.
And honestly, it was enough that I said, did we just have an earthquake? So it wasn't even like this is a big earthquake. It was was that an earthquake?
It was like, huh.
Yeah. I didn't notice it at all, so you guys are definitely a little closer.
We're way closer.
Yeah.
We're like twice as close as you are. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, we're about halfway between Jeff and Ojai.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was interesting, and so but of course I started calling it the hurricane. And so did you survive the hurricane? Yeah. Which was funny, and even like what was it, Merriam-Webster's or whatever are like, ooh, this is a new word for us too.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, that a lot of the areas that are further inland, like
Palm Springs, got it.
Yeah, Palm Springs and stuff, and like Owens Lake area and stuff like that. Like the roads were basically destroyed. They it just washed out underneath and it collapsed, and so that was not fun for them.
No, and it was
wet here.
It was fascinating though. Where was I? Driving around yesterday, I went along some of the culverts and the rivers in Los Angeles that are drainage rivers, and most of the time they're kind of empty. It's just like a big cement ditch, and it was just amazing to see how much water was in them. It was really neat. It was a lot more like driving through the Midwest and seeing all the rivers there, and it was really kind of neat. because it just doesn't happen all the time here until we,
sort of 1 day's worth of an El Nino.
Yeah, well, and when did we have really big storms, like back in March or February or something this year?
It was a little ways back. Yeah.
We had storms that were so much more impactful. We got so much more rain and whatnot.
And snow and
that was a lot more of a storm than we got from this hurricane / tropical storm. So
yeah,
I don't even think it was on the level when Colleen and I were in Florida. It was our first trip to Walt Disney World, so it was like 26 years ago. And the last day we were there, we went to Blizzard Beach, which is their water park, as the hurricane was coming in. So it was wet, it was raining, it was overcast, but much like the situation we had here, it was warm. It wasn't cold. And so that was the weird thing. We had lots and lots of rain, but it was warm and it was muggy. And it felt very much like that Florida weather 26 years ago when we were playing around in the water park before we had to hit the airport.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts.
I remember Blizzard Beach it actually snowed in Florida
blizzard
a couple of years ago, and Blizzard Beach actually looked like its name. But, ironic.
That would have been pretty cool to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the thing that was interesting is that Sean and I had reservations for Disneyland on Sunday.
Oh.
And it was.
This wasn't interesting. This was sad.
It was really difficult because from our point of view here, we're looking out and we're like, okay, there's this warm rain. It's not raining very hard, and the wind is blowing less than on an average Tuesday. Yeah. So, because we get a lot of wind right here.
Yeah.
And so it was, it was like a day that I would call not windy.
Right.
Meaning the trees are moving a little bit, but it's, nothing was getting blown over. And we were teetering on whether to go or not to Disney because we had canceled our reservation the day before because of the hurricane warning. But then we went and looked, and they had same-day reservations.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we should go, but because we knew it would be fine at Disneyland in the rain.
But
the problem is that the hurricane, or what they expected, hadn't hit us all the way yet. And the government agencies asked that people not be on the roads.
We kept getting phone warnings, and they kept weep, 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 alert, 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 don't travel, don't do anything.
So we decided to be adults and not go to Disneyland because between the please don't be out on the roads and the thought of coming back at night if it got really bad, I was like, I just don't want to deal with that.
Well, and
it got worse later.
And you and I, Colleen, have had problems where we have been in Orange County.
Yeah.
We have left and made our way home, and this happened in our first Star Wars car, the Honda Del Sol, the H-Wing, where we would hit an intersection that was flooded and sort of float across the intersection because there was so much water that you're no longer touching the ground. And it's not just a usual hydroplaning kind of situation. You're just floating across the intersection.
Yep.
Which was nuts. And we're like, well, we don't want to have that kind of problem.
Yeah.
Although, the car that I've got right now is really good for that sort of thing. It's also.
But it was, I think if it had been either or, like if we hadn't been concerned at all, or if the government hadn't issued all these warnings saying stay off the roads, we don't want to have to clean up your accident in addition to everything else, I think we would have gone. But just, being safe.
It just made me sad.
One of the YouTube channels I watched, he was at Disney. He went to Disneyland on Sunday, and it was dead as a doornail. It was rainy and stuff, and a little windy here and there, but you were walking on rides and it was empty.
And that's why I wanted to go, because I love Disneyland in the rain.
Yeah, Disneyland in the rain is fantastic.
It's the best.
Yeah.
But so I felt kind of bummed. And then the scare that we got. So I hate being the responsible one sometimes, and
doesn't everybody?
Yeah. And so like yesterday I was at Disneyland, and then we got a note that somebody from our zoo event came down with COVID.
Yep.
So I left Disneyland and I came home and I tested myself because it's kind of irresponsible to be wandering around Disneyland with all those people if you might have COVID. But it kind of sucked because like I walked through the door at 10:30 and Colleen's like, "Huh, you're home early." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, because we got this COVID warning." And of course, I've tested negative. I assume you have, Jeff.
I haven't tested at all, really.
Oh, okay. Because Colleen had COVID and then didn't really have any symptoms. And so I thought it was best to test just to make sure I'm not spreading it around even if I don't feel it.
Right, because
it was just a drag.
I didn't have any symptoms until after I tested positive, and I tested positive 5 days after. Between 5 and 8 days after I was exposed.
Yeah.
So, best to test, and the tests are free, so why not?
Yeah, but, it was a drag. I didn't want to leave Disneyland, but it was like the responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
So what did you do while you were at Disneyland? Anything different?
Me?
Yeah.
Actually, so one of my whole purposes for going was because the Ahsoka show had aired, and they were supposed to introduce Ahsoka as a walk-around character. So I sort of put on kind of Rebel General-y stuff and went down, and it was hot and it was muggy, but I still wore my Rebel General jacket with the Purina Cat Chow insignia on it. And I had talked to a friend who was there. Nick was there, and he said that he was looking for Ahsoka and found her, and then so she but it took her a long time to get out because Ahsoka, of course, is orange, and that requires a lot of makeup, and that's complicated to apply. So apparently she was supposed to be out at like 12:30. She didn't get out there till about like 1:45 maybe, and then by the time I got there, I waited around for a few hours in Galaxy's Edge. I never saw her. I saw Rey. I saw other characters walking around. Never saw Ahsoka, which was a little bit disappointing because apparently she just got mobbed like crazy. But the problem was nobody was playing with her. They just kind of went up and went, "Oh, give me a picture, give me a picture, give me a picture." And they sort of mobbed her that way. Nobody was like, treating her like the character, being part of the environment with her, which is something that I had really kind of wanted to do. And I'd sort of figured out how I was going to do that. And of course I was going to ask for a picture, but I was going to kind of do it in Star Wars universe, which would have been really cool. And afterwards, when I talked to some people who did see her, and they're like, yeah, nobody played with her. They just mobbed her for the selfie. And it just made me sad because, it's so much fun to play with these characters there. And in fact, I just had this discussion, and I don't know if it's going to make it in. There's a podcast that just had asked to interview me about Life Day, the upcoming Life Day. And they're called Heroes of the Halcyon. And their whole podcast has been about the Galactic Star Cruiser. But of course, the Galactic Star Cruiser is closing, I guess, by October. And they're running out of a subject for their podcast. And so their primary goal, and the reason they love the Halcyon so much, is that it is a role-playing opportunity. You go in costume, you interact with everybody, you get missions to do. You have all this interactive role play stuff going on that it's like a very expensive Disney LARP. And so they're looking for other things to do. So they want to talk about Life Day, which of course is a terrific opportunity to come down and you can kind of role play if you want and dress in costume and, celebrate Life Day at Galaxy's Edge. And we were talking about, trying to find more opportunities for that. And it's disappointing when people go to Galaxy's Edge and they're just like, I got a picture with the character, as opposed to like talking with the characters. And I have the best time doing that. And I think a lot of them know that I will now. And so they'll like, if I'm standing there hanging out in a crowd, even if I'm not taking pictures, if I'm not doing anything, I'm just kind of like off to the side watching what's going on, they'll single me out and they'll come over and they'll talk to me in character, and we'll interact with each other and stuff. And, you know, we're like doing these little improv skits, which is really just the best part of Batu. And these heroes of the Halcyon, and I'll let you know when they put their episode up, which is probably in a week. That's what they're looking for. They want more of that now that you can't go to galaxies, to the Galactic Star Cruiser to do it. Where are you going to get your role playing on? Yeah. And there are so many opportunities to do it in Batu. You just have to commit to it and do it. Even if you just fire up the app and wander around and do little adventures and games and stuff in the Disney Play app. There's a lot of stuff you can do if you want to, but you have to want to do it. It's a lot easier to be on the Galactic Star Cruiser, where you're in a confined environment and they act like a cruise director. You go through a bunch of adventures and things that they guide you through. It's a lot easier to do. Maybe I should do that. I should start a company that's like Batu Adventures and just like guide people through role-playing stuff on Galaxy's Edge for people who want to do it, because you know, you kind of have to make your own entertainment if you want to do it.
Cool. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you had a good time at Disney for the time you were there.
Yeah, I was just disappointed that I didn't find Ahsoka. And, you know, because I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to bug her about Fulcrum and do a bunch of stuff, and it'll be really fun. And I had this like whole plan in my head, and I just sat there.
But it's not going to be your only chance.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know it isn't. I know it's not. So we'll see.
And Jeff, you had an exciting day at Knott's, didn't you?
Yeah, on Saturday actually. So Rosella went there with David and to get their vows renewed at Knott's, which I assume they didn't tell me how much or anything, but it's like you pay to have it.
You pay to do it.
To do it. Yeah.
So did they provide the dress, or did she show up in that dress?
She was in it. Yeah, showed up in it.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we went down to Judge Roy Bean, as it were, and started that process up. And then she went around the town, the ghost town, to ask characters to come to the wedding. And then put up a little flyer stuff, little flyer that you would make there in like the dress shop or something. And so I took video of the whole thing. And
you
then,
posted pictures, and I can't find it on your Facebook page.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send you something. And then, also in the meantime, the entire thing, Sparrow was doing a bunch of the tasks to become the mayor, because you can do stop it. You can do a bunch of tasks to become the mayor of Calico.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty fun. The people got, the characters got into it and stuff.
Her swearing in ceremony was really funny.
Yeah, totally. And then let's see here. I took some pictures, and strangely, I just basically went in. I deleted it. I deleted them in a sense. I fiddled with them and adjusted.
Oh, because I can't find them on your Facebook page. I was going to show everybody.
I didn't see them on the.
I think they're still on the
page.
Facebook page. I just mean from my phone.
I can't find them.
I saw them when Jeff sent them to us privately.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's. Are they in Docking Bay?
There you go.
The Docking Bay.
There's one.
No, either that or in the one that's just the three of us.
And then I send that one to. Boop. There we go. And yeah.
All right. So Jeff, you sent new ones into Docking Bay 94?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make them big enough so that I can show them without them just being little postage stamp things.
Yeah.
Dear
there
Lord.
we go.
This is not ideal.
Well, it looked like a really cool little wedding ceremony, Jeff. It looks super fun. I'd like to go to Knott's at some point in costume. I think that would be fun.
Yeah. Like the Western thing, or I think the Ghost Town Live is ending soon. It's like September 4th or something. I think this coming weekend or something.
Oh, that's a bummer.
The last one.
It is kind of a bummer because we know people who are working there, and they're basically going to lose their jobs unless they're going right into the Halloween haunt.
Probably. I mean, some are. Some aren't.
Chopper.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, there we go.
Chopper was at the wedding.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to navigate photos in this messenger system, which is why I was looking for them on your page. I just couldn't find them.
I thought I probably posted them. I think I did.
I thought I saw them there too.
Yeah. Pretty sure I did. But there will be a Western Day again next. When was it? January or February? Probably January.
All right. Well, we should plan to do the next time they have a Western Day. We should plan to all go.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Although I have to say, so when did they get married the first time?
October. Let's see. What was it? 5 years ago? Was it 2018?
Okay, so it's been 5 years. Because I'm like,
you officiated.
I know, but I'm like,
remember the year.
I don't think they've been married that long.
Yeah,
to renew their vows.
It's been 5 years.
It's like Colleen and I have been married 33 years, and we haven't renewed our vows yet.
Yeah, but it was pretty fun. I mean, they made it fun. Dino, who's from Perception Check, and he also was the person who took over Eric's spot at Pirates.
Oh, wow, okay.
He plays the Wes, who was running the bank, and he came out with I think he had a ukulele, so he was playing the the wedding march on the ukulele.
On the ukulele,
that's fun.
It was great.
Yeah, it looked pretty fun. I think Danny Montooth works there too.
Yeah, he's only there certain days, but yes.
Yeah, and I got a note from somebody that was like, "You should come do this," and I'm like, I didn't really know anything about it.
You'd have a lot of fun.
And come work it, come be a character there, which would be kind of interesting. But I would like no clue what it was, and also if it's like a 9 to 5 kind of thing, that's a problem with
I don't know,
doing a radio show in the morning on the station here.
I don't know what time. I don't know what time they start. Possibly right before the park opens. I guess.
Right.
Depending on or shifts, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, it'd be something worth looking into. Yeah. And I see a lot of people.
Was like kids kept coming up and bugging me and trying to get pictures with me, and I'm like dressed basically as Woody at another theme park, and I'm like,
yeah, but you're not really Woody, and you're not being the Pixar Woody. You're being like Woody in real life. Woody.
Yeah.
So
it's like I was like in a gray area in my mind. I'm like, should I be taking? But yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Right. All right. So should we move on to the subject of Star Wars? Actually, we all did do one more thing. We all watched Ahsoka.
That is true.
Which came out on Tuesday, episodes 1 and 2. And I think we could give positives or negatives without...
Yeah, we can do a spoiler-free review.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. And just, I want to give a little bit of a thumbs up to Disney Plus for releasing it on a Tuesday at 6 in the evening Pacific time.
That was awesome.
Instead of freaking midnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of waking up to spoilers all over Facebook. And for people on the East Coast, they get it at 9 o'clock, but even that's still reasonable.
Yeah.
So, good call on that instead of doing it Tuesday night at midnight so that it's there for Wednesday. Yeah. I keep doing that. I think
I very much appreciate that.
I hope this sets a new precedent for them to make it work, because we watched it at something like 8 o'clock at night or something. And although people don't seem to be so spoiler-oriented with this show as they have been for other ones, because I've seen a lot of people going, okay, I watched it, you can say if you like it, but if you post a spoiler, I'm cutting you.
I've seen I've seen people post spoilers. I just think that you're not as attuned to it because you saw it so quickly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's true.
Because I saw some people, but I also they tended to post right at the top that they were, like, I saw Ahsoka Tano, and so you knew to not read that. It wasn't like you were reading something and then somebody suddenly said, oh my God, big spoiler here.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I found it a little bit confusing because I can't remember all of what happened to Ahsoka in her journey so far. And Sean and I tried to watch the catch-up episodes, but we don't really like the Clone Wars that much. So it was difficult to pay attention to the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, and one of the problems that we run into is the cartoon to live action translation. So, like, for example, there's a character that Clancy Brown plays in the cartoon that he plays in real life in the show, which was, like, really neat. But you have to remember that, and, of course, the character doesn't look exactly like Clancy Brown in the animation, and things like that. So, there's that kind of disconnect. And then for me personally, I'm having a little bit of a disconnect with Ahsoka because the more I learn about her, the less I have high stakes for her. So, like, she's super powerful. They keep adding little stories about her, like the Tales of the Jedi one, where at 2 years old she becomes an alpha wolf using the Force and stuff like that. And the more I see about that, the less I'm like, okay, well, I'm not worried about her dying, and she's just, like, super powerful and everything's whatever. I'm liking some of the other characters, and I have some investment in them, but for the title character of the show, I'm kind of withdrawn on it, just because I'm like, okay, she's like goddess of the galaxy, whatever. And I know that's kind of like my own hang up, but that was the problem that I had, that when we were trying to watch these other episodes of a younger Ahsoka through the Clone Wars, was like the stakes were really low, and the show, I think this show moved as slowly as the Clone Wars moved, which might be a Dave Filoni thing, but I felt like these episodes were paced slowly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys agree or not.
And Sean thought that the person playing Hera looked like she was too young, even though she's not too young to play the character. The actress's age is older than Hera actually is. But I don't think that it was that she was too young. I felt that she was too soft. Like, usually I feel like Hera, she's like a strict mom, kind of.
Yeah,
like,
she's very brusque and...
Yeah, she's brusque and she gets to the point, but you also feel like you can confide in her. So, and I didn't feel that from this one. I felt like she was too soft. So hopefully they'll get that more in balance as the characters, the actors get more involved in their characters.
What was your take, Jeff?
I couldn't really see that because, I mean, we've only seen her in like, about an episode and a half, if you want to call it that. Right. Because, but, so I'm not sure, we're not going to get a whole lot of depth in the character from these two episodes. I think, I didn't find it to be slow. I mean, I guess other people did, but, I look at it going, well, if it's slow, then maybe it's because they wanted to reintroduce everybody to the characters in a way, because not everyone really has watched not everyone's watched Rebels or Clone Wars or anything. So the only reference they have to Ahsoka is from her, 2 episodes? 3 of Mandalorian?
Right.
Couple? Yeah.
But the pacing of it, the slowness of it to me is that, like, it's a little bit with Hera. It's even more with Ahsoka. Everything they say has so much weight, and it's, really important. And there's sort of one emotional tone that's going on, and I'm like, wow, emote a little bit, pick it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're very serious and whatnot, because they're still like, okay, and we have the now method to get this thing, and I can try not to spoil anything, and then something is then that moment is lost. So I think that's the point of why they were doing it that way. But I'm not really, as great at explaining this, but for me, the episode, I watched the A New Hope when I was in the theater when I was like 5 years old. So I remember bits and pieces of it, very little of when I saw it. So Empire Strikes Back, I didn't see that until after it had been re-released. Because at 5, you're like, hey, Star Wars, and you're like, okay, next new thing, Speed Racer, it's just like, whatever. So the one that my movie was really Return of the Jedi. But in any case, when I was watching Ahsoka, I don't know how to explain, the best way to explain it, I put a post on Facebook about it, is that I had the same feeling when I was watching Return of the Jedi and, Star Wars and such, when it was in the theater and as a kid. I started getting that same feeling while watching these episodes of Ahsoka. So I don't know what that means to really anyone besides myself. But I love these 2 episodes. I hope they are as good. And well, for everyone else, I hope that's a little more action, a little more action packed, or a little quicker pacing, whatever, for people that didn't weren't fond of that.
I would like to recommend that anybody who feels slightly lost, like I do, because either it's been too long since you've seen the previous shows that had Ahsoka, or you just didn't like them, or you didn't watch them. Clone Wars, I don't even know if we watched. I know we didn't watch all of it, so I don't even know if we watched all of the episodes that were essential for Ahsoka. But I made a quiz today, an Ahsoka Tano quiz, which we'll take later on in the show. And in order to do that, I went to StarWars.com. I did a search for on StarWars.com for Ahsoka Tano, and there is a recap there that tells you all of the important details that you need to know. Things that even having watched episode 1 and 2, I was like, oh my God, she did that? Had no idea, didn't remember at all. So if you get a chance, be careful when you read it, because I don't know if somebody's gone in there and put spoilers farther down
in the comments and stuff.
Well, it's a running document about her life, and so you can start at the beginning. It's just when you feel like you've gotten enough information, don't go farther if you see they're starting to talk about things about the Ahsoka show. Yeah, and you can also look at Wikipedia. They've got a whole entry on her and stuff. But again, you've got to stop at one point. This one was the one on StarWars.com was really well done. It had like a photo and a brief explanation that I feel so much more able to grasp what's going on with her than I did, 20 minutes ago. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm getting ready to fill that, so here we go. I think the characterizations are pretty good. I'm loving Sabine. I think she's well cast. She looks pretty good. Of course, everybody's older than in Rebels, and this series is concurrent with what's going on in The Mandalorian. But of course, it's it's still got a ways to go to get into sort of more Disney era Star Wars. The thing with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's playing Hera,
I think this is Vanessa Marshall's good voice work in the original cartoon series. I always pictured her older. And so imagine my surprise when I looked into the character and I found out that in the Rebels cartoon series, Hera is supposed to be 24, 25, 26. Mm-hmm. And which is like really young seeming to me. Now, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is 40. She's 40 years old. So her age is probably appropriate for Hera. But she definitely has a different look because she's human versus a cartoon. And we've experienced this before with Obi-Wan, where everybody's like, oh, no, how come the villain looks so much more like a human than than the cartoon, you know? Because the cartoons don't really look like that. And so that a lot of people are beefing over that. You got to let that go. And once we got into some action, I bought her as Hera very much. Oh yeah. A lot of these sort of like standing around and expositing was less less interesting. And you know, I'm gonna say that as time goes on, so we've only seen 2 of 6 episodes. How many are they releasing?
I don't know how many they're doing.
I thought it was 8.
You know,
maybe it's 8. Yeah. So I feel.
You asked me that earlier. I'm like,
I feel like
8 episodes.
Thanks.
Oh, okay, cool.
I feel like they'll warm to their characters.
Yeah.
And you know, it's and in talking to or in seeing interviews with a lot of the actors, they're very glad to be able to refer back to something like Rebels and go, wow, look at all the wealth of information on the character that I get in order to flush out my character and make it more realistic. But I'd like to see a little less stoic and a little more emoting maybe. The episode was dedicated to the villain of the piece, to Rey. He was good. He was really good, and he had a wide range of emotion, and he really he's in this weird kind of position in the series that I won't elaborate too much on because I don't want to spoil anything, but he is equal parts reflective and menacing. Mm-hmm. And I'm liking that so far. I think that's really great. And we've got so much more to learn about him. They really just scratch the surface on him.
It's just really not like a villain you've seen before, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah.
He's very different.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the rest of Star Wars?
I want to point out really quick though that there's a scene in there with a bunch of Rebel guards in blue. Some of our Rebel Legion guys got cast as those guys. John Schlosser and Elton Hom and whatnot did it. Apparently they shot this like 15 months ago.
Oh wow!
Because that's what they were talking about. They're like 15 months ago, I was on the set, doing this thing. Which one, big thumbs up for them for keeping that quiet so long.
Yeah.
And secondly, it's very cool. And they're like, they said that anything that was a close up with them pretty much got hit the cutting room floor because they feel like. They just had big goofy grins on their face the whole time that they probably couldn't use their footage.
I'm a Star Wars. Ah!
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, congratulations to those guys.
Nice.
For getting a good gig.
Jeff, you want to start on that history?
Pull that darn thing up here, by golly. Okay. Oh, wow, I didn't even look at this. Holy guacamole! Why is there so many?
Maybe you can edit them as you go along.
Yeah, feel free to skip some stuff.
Okay, so I have to do this fast. August 20th, 1915 is when George Roussos was born. He comic book artist, did a few issues of the Marvel Star Wars series. Androids. August 23rd, 1925, Alfredo Alcala, inker and illustrator of Star Wars comics, was born. August 21st, 1929, Marie Severin, another comic book artist that did Marvel, Star Wars, and Ewoks and Droids, was born. Let's see, we have August 24th, 1932. That's when William Morgan Shepard was born. He was the voice actor. He was in the Force Commander game.
Now, just to sort of interrupt, William Morgan Shepard is a big deal. He has been in so many productions. He's the dad of Mark Shepard, who's also in a bajillion productions. Between the two of them, they've both done Doctor Who, Star Trek The Undiscovered Country, Max Headroom. William Morgan Shepard was Blank Reg in the Max Headroom TV series. He's got like 200 credits to his name, and he's freaking amazing. So just to say.
The most well-known on this list of people that was born is August 24th, 1934 is when Kenny Baker was born. He played R2, and I think he was about to play Wicket, and then he got sick and had to go like to the hospital or something, and that's why Warwick was put in the suit or something like that, from what I understand.
Well, and he also did a bunch of stuff. He was in Time Bandits, and all sorts of other things too. And I think he did end up as an Ewok in Return.
I think so too.
The Jedi.
Yeah.
But he was Fidget in Time Bandits.
Okay. Let's look it up. Let's see which Ewok he played. August 23rd, 1935, Ronald Falk, the voice of Dexter Jester, was born. Yeah. There's the pocketbook. August 19th, 1946, Christopher Malcolm, who played Zev Seneska in Empire Strikes, was born. And I'm burning through these, so can't remember who that character was.
Zev was one of the pilots that rescued Han and Luke.
Oh, is he the one? He's like, I found them.
I found them. Tell him I found them. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. August 20th, 1951, Greg Bear, author of Rogue Planet, was born. And our last birthday, August 22nd, 1991, Madison Lloyd. He played a unnamed Naboo child in The Phantom Menace. Okay, he was born. Any
relation to Jake Lloyd?
There you go. Man, that's a bummer, man. He was only like in his 30s? Oh, dear.
Oh, sister of Jake Lloyd.
Okay.
And
sister.
And passed away in 2018.
That's
Natural causes. That's very sad. In Simi Valley, California. Wow, that's nuts. Going back to Kenny Baker, Kenny played Paplu in Return of the Jedi, in addition to being R2.
Gotcha.
And then if you look through any Little People roles, he did it. So he was R2 in Star Tours for the Disney attraction. He was a goblin in Labyrinth, and he played like a dwarf in everything. The Goodies comedy show, the movie The Elephant Man from 1980, all sorts of really great stuff, and including the Patrick McNee, Emma Peel Avengers show, which was really cool. So anyway, he's got a lot of credits under his name.
Okay. Sweet.
He was one of my convention friends. I looked forward to seeing him every con. He was great.
August 20th, 1973 is when George signed the deal memo to write and direct Star Wars, and then whatever else he scribbled in there.
I assume for 20th Century Fox.
Yeah. August 23rd, 1979. That's when Lucasfilm Limited put on a grand display of props and did a slideshow for the upcoming Empire Strikes Back at SeaCon in England. And then our last bit was August 21st, 2014, when Star Wars Commander game was released on mobile platforms.
Star Wars
Which
Commander.
I never played.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. And I think I'm confusing it with another game. There was a game that they did that was about different planetary war and things like that. Lots of attacks and things. I'm looking to see. This was the phone game. This was the one that was released on mobile devices.
Yeah.
So it was Android and iOS, and the Windows Phone version was canceled. Sorry, guys, you lose. And they also canceled the Windows 10 version because they were going to do it for desktop, and because the Windows Phone got canceled, they canceled the other one too.
All right. The StarWars.com on Facebook released a sizzle reel from the Ahsoka fan events, which took place in Hollywood, Anaheim, Florida, Brazil, and I think a couple other places.
Wow.
It's a minute-long video, and it's kind of a fun watch.
They did some stuff at one of the galaxy's edges. I don't know if it was Anaheim or Florida. I heard that they were doing it in Florida, except, or that they were doing it in Anaheim, and then I never saw anybody who actually made it. The sizzle reel has a lot of people from Florida in it.
Well, and I know people who went to the Hollywood version at the El Capitan Theater.
Yeah, it was kind of a drag. If you were a SAG member, you were asked to stand down from it.
It gave other people a chance to go.
It did, but there was also a really huge flap because some SAG members went and it upset some other union people, and it was a big mess.
Right.
I got some sort of behind.
New York and San Francisco and Mexico were the places I missed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looked like fun, and it's looking at the lines of people who went. It's a lot of people that we know. They did one up at Lucasfilm in their main offices in their theater, which was pretty fun. It looked kind of neat, and I'm sad we didn't get to go.
Sorry, I'm reading between two different articles.
No worries.
ComingSoon.net, quoting from the Hollywood Reporter
There you go. I know,
article where Obi-Wan Kenobi director and executive producer Deborah Chow has ideas for season 2 of Obi-Wan.
Which we weren't sure if Ewan McGregor was going to come back for. He doesn't seem to have indicated that he would come back from another thing. But I do want to kind of point out that we were talking about Hera, which was Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah.
She is the current Mrs. Ewan McGregor. It's his second wife, and he's so excited that she gets to experience Star Wars, that they have this additional thing in common, and that they didn't do it on the same show. They've been acting together. Like I think they first fell in love on the Fargo set, where they were playing a couple on the Fargo set, and it's so because she's having so much fun and getting to experience that same level of, geeky fandom, that might be a bargaining chip for him, because he's like, oh yeah, okay, she's doing it, I could go back, I guess, and be Obi-Wan. Should be kind of neat. I mean, honestly, we just want to see more of 10-year-old Leia.
Right. Vivian Lyra Blair is so good.
She's the best.
Really, God, I just really love her. She's great.
And talk about somebody who's having fun at conventions. She's having a blast. Oh my God. Because everybody's so excited to see her. She's taking pictures with people. She'll stop and do the, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi thing with anyone's R2. She's just having the best time going to cons and being, young Princess Leia. So I'm sad that she didn't get to meet Carrie. I think that would have been epic.
That would have been, as you say, epic. In the article in the Hollywood Reporter, the reporter says, did Alec Guinness' true from a certain point of view line about having told Luke that Darth Vader murdered his father give you license to imagine that there was more to most of what Obi-Wan said? And the answer was, I don't think anyone will ever know exactly what George Lucas intended.
Well, and the way
true.
he had to retcon everything too,
Right.
you know.
Oh, jeez.
So they said the biggest thing was emotional authenticity.
And this interview was with Deborah Chow, is that?
It was with Deborah Chow, yes.
Okay. Because I liked her direction. I thought it was pretty good. And I like... So I mentioned not feeling the stakes in Ahsoka yet, as far as the Ahsoka character goes. Even though we know that Obi-Wan survives to Episode 4. He survives into being an old man. Such as it is, because was he 60? We know that he's not going to die, but you still felt the stakes
you
there,
did.
Which was really great.
Yeah.
So,
and you knew that Luke and Leia were going to survive too.
Right.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I have to say the best part of this article.
Yeah.
The interviewer says, "What advice would you offer the next director of a Star Wars project?" And she answers,
run screaming.
No, make sure all the creatures go to the bathroom before you bring them to set.
No, that's really funny.
Because you'll be waiting 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And Deborah said that like when they finally finished shooting the last scene or the last shot of that season, Ewan was already running to her and pitching her ideas for season 2.
Oh,
That's
good.
awesome.
Well, if he's got ideas, then he'll probably come back, and I'm down for that. I mean, honestly, I just can't think of anyone better to have stepped into that role after Alec Guinness. He's just really nailed it, and he's so invested in it.
Yeah.
It just makes me really happy.
So there's a new Star Wars anthology book from a certain point of view, Return of the Jedi. And
third in the series.
John Hamm returns to reprise his role as Boba Fett.
Now, I have to say, this is the book that drove you nuts.
Oh, yeah, there's no way I would listen to this audio.
Colleen listened to the audiobook, which
was for the first one.
Right. And it's what they call a full production audiobook, which means...
And I call it overproduced.
Right. There's sound effects, people are playing characters. They basically treat the book like it is
like
a
it's a movie.
script. Yeah.
But the thing that's dumb is that I like listening to movies when I'm not even watching them.
Yeah.
So the problem wasn't that, there are these sounds and I can't watch it. That wasn't a problem at all. Because I both like audiobooks and I like...
You like old-time radio dramas.
Yeah.
You like that kind of stuff.
The problem is that there would be, in the very opening of Star Wars, they're on the Tantive before, and there are alarm klaxons going off. So they're doing the alarm klaxons, and you want to stab somebody because the alarm klaxons are louder than the person who's talking.
Right. They don't ramp them down.
They're horrible. And they don't stop them after you're like,
Right.
okay, I understand there are alarm klaxons, so then they should turn the volume down and put them way in the background so that they're still there, but you don't want to, put an ice pick.
Well, and they should have taken a cue from the actual film from Episode 4 where you hear them, guys are running around, and then they stop, and the whole attack takes place in dead silence. They're waiting, they're going to bust through the door, they're building tension, and the alarm has been shut off. It's not going off. It's just waiting. And then, of course, things explode and the music happens and all hell breaks loose. And they really should have taken a cue from that. But that kind of goes back to the original, and I don't know if you agree with me, Jeff, but let me know if you do. The original Star Wars radio drama where there's a half-hour-long episode where Darth Vader tortures Leia, and it's it's a half hour of screaming.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
It's the worst. And it's like, I can skip this one. I heard it once. That's enough. And it's like, they thought it was a good idea because they really wanted to, show that Vader meant business and how terrible it was, and Leia's being tortured. It was awful. It was just the worst.
Yeah.
Let me jump in here really
Terrible.
quick and let you guys know that you are listening to DB94 over on sci-fi.radio. If you go over there to that URL, just type it in the address bar, sci-fi.radio. We have all sorts of interesting news stories up there for you, including a review of Ahsoka and a bunch of other things. There's news stories every day, and I encourage you to go take a look and check it out. That's where you can listen to the show on audio and on a variety of radio apps and things like that on your phone if you want to do that, or your computer. You could be watching us on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch. If there is a way to like and subscribe and all that kind of thing, please give that a consideration. We'd be grateful if you do it. And that lets us know that you've been hanging out, and we're grateful for that too. I'm Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
Jeff Donoho.
I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
And thanks for hanging out. Alan jumped in with the from a certain point of view, and he says that's going to be the Sci-Fi Book Club selection for December for his library book club. So we're going to have to get it and read it.
Maybe I should actually read it. And
I think we have the
make it
first
to one
two.
of these book clubs. The problem is that during the lockdown, I could go to all the book clubs because I was stuck at home. And now that we're back from the lockdown, my sewing circle, I have a monthly
It's on the
sewing
same
circle.
night.
Same night.
Boo.
In person.
Boo.
So, yep.
You can stitch or bitch. You can't do both.
Right.
Oh, no.
Last Star Wars topic. Night Dive Studios has announced Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC under Steam. But they have not yet announced the release date.
Well, I mean, they've got a lot of work ahead of them. There are a lot of fan projects out there.
Why are you sighing, Sean?
Because I love this game.
Oh,
and I'm excited by this. But the game itself is like 28 years old. It'll be 30 by the time it comes out, I'm sure.
So you can play the remastered one.
Right. And so when
I don't want to.
when you and I Colleen, go to Galaxy's Edge, and we're in our sort of Disney bounding characters. Mm-hmm. The ship that we fly is the ship from this game.
Oh, maybe I should play the game. Forget you.
Well, it's a first-person shooter. It was the first-person shooter in the Star Wars universe. There have been many since then. And
we have a first-person not shooter.
Yeah, they do actually. I don't know that we have the console for that. Although we do have the VR one that has less
which
shooting
makes me
in it.
nauseated.
Yeah, which is a problem.
I can't play that either.
But Dark Forces was pretty freaking amazing, and it really gave us the opportunity to experience Star Wars like in a way that other game universes are doing. We had Doom and we had Quake and we had stuff like that, and the graphics weren't that great. And in fact,
they look a little better.
When you moved around, the Stormtrooper was just like a flat, animated thing. It was very pixelated. Yeah. And there's all sorts of really interesting stuff in there if you poke around. Like there's one level, if you blow out a grate and you go down into a secret subterranean level and you watch the map as you go around, it makes the head of Max the rabbit from Sam and Max. Which is really funny.
That's
there's
fun.
There's graffiti on the wall that's like "Death to Ewoks," and I think this was the game where if you walked into one room, there were stormtroopers in the bathroom, like using the bathroom. It was very strange. So the guys had a whole bunch of things. But I'm looking at this remastered video of it, and honestly, it doesn't look that much better.
Slightly better.
Yeah, but you can you actually play the old version anymore?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can go on Steam and you can download it and you can play it. But the problem is, I believe So now we have high definition graphics, right? Which are 1920 by 1080. Mm-hmm. The original game resolution was 640 by 480. So it's like, to play it on a modern screen, it's sort of postage stamp size. You have to enlarge it. And so you have like 1 centimeter square pixels. It just looks really awful. But, you know, it's the game if you really like it. And the voice acting is stellar. The music is terrific. There's a lot to recommend the game. And it is where, if you've been watching The Mandalorian and a bunch of the recent Star Wars stuff, this is where the Dark Troopers came from.
Yeah. And
so at the end of the recent season of The Mandalorian, we saw Moff Gideon in Dark Trooper armor. That concept, that idea came from this game, where it started out as like robotic Terminator battle droids, then droids in stormtrooper suits, really buff stormtrooper suits, and then the phase 3 were guys in armor like, say, Starship Troopers or Halo. And that's so the stuff that we're seeing in the Mandalorian sort of came from this game. Yeah. So we'll see what they do with it. I hope that the trailer that they showed us is really just a teaser, and they're really going to step up the quality of the graphics, because one of the other problems when this game was done, and I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct, is that there was a limited color palette of what you could show on the screen at the same time for animation. I think you only had 256 colors. And so when you look at a lot of the character animations and the cutscenes, they have banding, and they're kind of, you know, they kind of move funny, and it's really kind of weird. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see. There's a lot they can do with this game, and I hope that they don't like dumb it down because they think it's charming. I hope they give us the best graphics they possibly can, and then if they want to be really cute, like they did with the Monkey Island games when they remastered the Monkey Island games, they had beautiful modern full screen high definition graphics, and then at a moment's notice you could press a key and go back to the game that they released in the 1980s.
Oh wow.
And that was cool. So fingers crossed, if they really want to do something like that, they can do that. Because I want this game to kick ass. I want it to look like Battlefront or the Galaxy's Edge VR game, or any of these new graphics that we're getting. Use people's computer power to give you the best, because this game's not a hard game to do, and fans have been making versions of it for years, just using a different game engines like Unreal and stuff like that. They've been translating it over. So, you know, it's almost a redundancy for them to do this game. But like I said, I absolutely love this game. It's probably my favorite Star Wars game I've ever played. And
well, then you'll definitely have to get the remaster.
Yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Okay. Moving on to theme parks. Tiana's Palace Restaurant is opening on September 7th, and we have a first look at the menu. Do you want to screen that, Sean?
Yeah, let me go ahead and fire it up here. I don't think they show us a lot, and in fact, I might end up going
show us
to Facebook.
6 or 7 dishes and some side dishes.
Okay.
Why on Facebook?
Because I saw some interior pictures of Tiana's Palace on Facebook.
Well, this is the wrong article. You want the menu article, which was just below that one.
Oh, I see. Oh,
this one just talks about, you know, it has a couple drawings in it.
I didn't see that one at all.
That's the one I wanted to focus on, which was in the menu.
Okay, well, you understand my confusion now.
Yes, I do. I'm like, what kind of food pictures were you getting online?
Let me reload it here and see, because there's a house-filled beignet from Tiana's Palace that's not loading. There we go.
Rude.
All right. Now I'm on board.
Okay.
Except...
So they have these
good.
cream-filled beignets, which I believe is a lemon cream.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be willing to try that. lemon cream filled donut.
It could be fun. They were doing pumpkin a while back. So.
But the pumpkin ones weren't pumpkin filled. They were just like pumpkin on the outside, weren't they?
Maybe.
Last year?
Yeah, maybe they did.
Yeah. They're going heavy on the gumbo in this restaurant, which is kind of a challenge. The vegetarian gumbo is not something that I think Sean will eat.
No.
And all of the meat options are not things that Jeff will eat. So,
No.
and this
So it's
restaurant,
up to Colleen.
this restaurant used to be the place where everybody could agree on food to eat. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a challenge. But the vegetarian gumbo, it has white beans, okra, yams, sweet potatoes, and heirloom rice. Sounds good to me. And then you can also get it with the combination of chicken and andouille sausage if you want to add meat into the vegetarian option.
Okay.
And then they have...
So it's exactly the same. They just add meat to it.
Exactly the same with meat.
Okay.
And then they have another version that is just the meat and rice and not the gumbo to go with it. And then their final entree is Cajun spice half chicken with a chicory barbecue sauce, and it's served with baked macaroni and cheese and coleslaw. And then they also have sandwiches. I wouldn't like the muffaletta sandwich because I'm not a fan of olives, and it's got an olive tapenade on it.
Yeah.
And then they've got this beef po' boy sandwich, which I think both Sean and I would eat. So there's that. And then they have a shrimp dish with grits, which no way in hell would I eat.
Well, it would kill you.
I'm allergic to shrimp.
Yeah.
And I cannot deal with the texture of grits. I cannot eat grits.
No, grits are not my thing.
It's a
either.
huge no-go for me. But the side dishes look tasty, some of them. They've got a cornbread, a mac and cheese, red beans and rice, coleslaw, and then cheesy grits. Blech.
Cheesy grits.
Yeah. And of course they have a couple of kids meals. They've got the beignet, which is a lemon icebox pie filling. So it's basically the bottom half of a lemon meringue pie.
Oh, well, I'm way interested now.
Yeah, but like maybe a little, it's like the creamy version of the lemon meringue pie,
Sure.
not the gel
Not the gel version,
Yeah.
sure.
And then they have something that I'm interested in getting, which is the Ray Firefly Glow Cube, just because it looks neat.
Oh, Trey.
Yeah. And that's in a special coffee cold brew they've got. And then they also are selling...
So I'm going to get the cold brew and Colleen's going to steal my Ray.
Right. So true. And then you can buy the beignet with a teacup set that has like a lily pad with I guess that's the prince on it. And a flower you can kind of see in the background, the flower.
The flower is
teacup.
the cup. It's funny that they didn't put that like on the plate to show you.
Yeah, I think they wanted to lure you in with the beignet.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but there's a divot in the plate for the cup to sit into.
Right. I feel like the restaurant is now more divisive than it was in the past.
Very much so, because the French market was an easy place to get a whole crowd to eat at.
And you could get fairly plain options there. So we'll have to see how this goes. And although I feel like with the opening of San Francisco, there are so many options over in California Adventure. Between that and how much I really like the food at Galaxy's Edge, I'm
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do for Life Day. I hope that they have some nice offerings over there.
Oh my gosh, I so hope that they keep up bringing us special menus for Life Day.
Yeah, it should be super cool. And I feel like that's an easier sell than some of the swag that they've been selling, some of the merch.
Yeah.
And I was talking to some of the cast members in the marketplace, and this really isn't our fault at all, but I feel very responsible that they got stuck with so much Life Day stuff that it's still in the stores now. Life Day
But
is
the
in November.
problem is that they didn't bring it out on Life Day.
Right.
So
it got here late.
It's a
Supply
supply
problem.
chain issue.
Yeah.
So it's not Disney's fault and it's not our fault. Although
Right.
maybe if Disney had started sooner, I don't know if that would have helped or not.
Yeah, and I've
know.
been telling the marketplace people that if they have any input at all, that they should poke them and say, get it here early.
Yeah,
and
a week early would be
And I have been
perfect.
telling everybody that we're doing our first Life Day on the 12th of November. So what's really funny, and I'm a little nervous about this, I can't make a reservation yet for those days. You can reserve them if your pass is good, but my pass ends in a week and a half or something.
Can't you re-up your pass yet?
I can. Yes, I can. Yeah. I haven't done it.
Just do it and make your
I
reservation.
guess I'll
I
just do
can't
it.
get one.
No.
I can't get a reservation. So, and it's going to be another month before I can.
Yeah. I wanted to say before we leave behind this Tiana's Palace stuff that they're going to limit the stuff that we showed you that are the collectible things. You can
So like the teacup and the little
the
glow
Firefly glow cube is limited to 10 purchases. So like if you're trying to just get the cube, you can only buy 10 of them at once.
10 is a lot.
It is a lot, and especially if you have to get the coffee to get it.
I mean, I would have thought you
that's
would
a lot
have
of
said
coffee.
like 2 or maybe 5, but 10 is
Right,
a
I
lot.
was thinking maybe like 6 at the most because our whole
Man.
party is going to have coffee.
Yeah,
only
but I
sell
mean,
10
you could
on
just
eBay
break
at a
your
time.
party up
Yeah.
into 2
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah,
and do it that way.
but the
That's what they're doing.
they're just trying to get people who are going to resell them to stop
to
doing
knock
this
it off.
much.
Yeah.
The lily pad and the lotus cup ceramic set, 2 per person.
That's a good. That's cool.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I have to admit that since Sean put out the write-up of that's what he did with his Sunday that he didn't tell you guys about.
Oh, right.
That Sean wrote up our trip to
Club 33.
And
Nice.
it took him the better part of the day to do that whole
Not
write-up.
bad.
Yeah.
And what he didn't say was that one of the items that I purchased, or rather 2 of the items that I purchased, were the Club 33 cup and saucer.
Which
And-
are really great. And they're the
Yeah.
ones they use in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And like that plate, have like a little divot for the cup to rest in. And it's really nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Space
I
for
think
cookies.
2 is fair to limit people to 2
Sure.
teacups because it's just enough for you and one other person to share a nice event, and
Yeah.
that should be fine. And if you have a family of 4, have 2 people stand in line.
And that's exactly the way you would do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the resale market. I pick up a lot of things at Disneyland for people at cost. I think that's a nice thing to do. But it's such a huge thing where like you can't go in and get something because I was talking to one of the cast members over at the Harbor Galley, which was the last place you could get the Hatbox Ghost Sipper. And that vanished so quickly that even they were surprised. They got like 2 waves of it and then it was gone.
Wow.
And like nowhere else in the park had it. You could try the churro cart, maybe, who had it for like 1 weekend. And it's just, they felt really bad because so many people are asking after it. And then,
Oh, yeah.
but of course, go to eBay and they're,
Yeah, they're all on
everywhere
there.
on freaking
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah.
Stupid eBay. So Tokyo Disneyland Resort Explorer is a web page for people who want all of the inside tips and tricks about going to Tokyo Disney Resort. And it was invaluable to our trip, I feel. It really told me what to expect at Tokyo Disney Resort, and I knew what to keep an eye out for. And I feel like it made our trip, like it enriched our trip because we knew that to look out for certain types of vending machines and certain places to go get certain snacks that I wouldn't have known. And our 2-day trip I wouldn't have discovered it in our 2-day trip if I hadn't already known. So anyway, they posted about the Tokyo Disney Sea expansion to Fantasy Springs, which is opening in 2024.
We saw them building it while we were there. And our friend Mela has contributed to it.
Yeah, and too bad she's not here today when we're talking about it. But
I
I
know,
sent her
right?
the link so that she can look at it herself. But Fantasy Springs will include the Frozen Kingdom with Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey, the Royal Banquet of Arendelle, Oaken's OK Foods, Rapunzel's Forest with Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, which I'm assuming is a ride, but maybe a shop, the Snuggly Duckling, and then there's Peter Pan's Neverland, which has Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure, Fairy Tinkerbell's Busy Buggies, Lookout Cookout, and they also have the Tokyo Disney Sea Fantasy Springs Hotel.
And this was a thing. We've talked about it off and on, but when we were at Disneyland and Disney Sea, Disney Sea has a giant volcano as its centerpiece. Yeah. And this is sort of nestled up alongside that. There was a lot of scaffolding and things when we were there that was kind of cool. And you know, it all looks pretty great. It's exactly what you expect from Disney. And if you listen to our recap of our trip to Tokyo, you'll remember that basically they just sort of blew the American parks out of the water in terms of attention to detail. So I don't imagine this is going to be any different than that. Their art, which I'm showing you now, is pretty amazing.
Yeah. I'd like to see the menu for Oaken's OK Foods.
Right.
And I like the this Fantasy Springs, I guess it's like a poster that they have for Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey, because it looks like the paper cutouts that they have in one of their shorts that they do.
Yeah, actually, that's the poster I'm showing you right now.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. And I feel that we saw something similar.
Oh, Mela is here.
To this.
Yay.
We saw something similar to this on Disney Plus with their, they had like a fireplace Christmassy thing that had some art that looked a lot like this.
Right, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But it's kind of fun. They've got boats that are similar to the boats in Small World.
Yeah, they have a Small World Pirates vibe to them.
Yeah, totally.
That's pretty cool.
And they don't really talk too much about the restaurants or the line queues or the shops or anything like that. It's just a brief overview, but they're opening it's such a huge amount of things that are opening.
I know.
They're not just opening one land.
It is a massive expansion.
It's insane.
It's like they're opening Galaxy's Edge or something. It is so involved.
Yeah.
I just want to point out this boat that I'm showing you. That's a physical model. It's not a 3D rendering.
Oh,
it's an actual model.
I thought you were saying it was a full-size model.
No,
no, it couldn't be.
It's not. But I think it's interesting that it's not just, it looks like a 3D rendering.
So Rapunzel's Lantern Festival is in fact a ride. It's a romantic boat trip to the annual Lantern Festival and other locations featured in the film, and it's a 5-minute ride.
Wow.
Cool.
And so basically,
and it's basically the same boat but decorated differently.
There is no other Matterhorn than the one in Disneyland here in Anaheim. They're basically adding a Matterhorn, this big snow-covered mountain that they're doing as part of Arendelle.
Okay.
That's crazy.
So Mela is able to share some details with us right now.
Okay.
She's told us that she hand embroidered a picture and needlepoint with a stool cushion. That's how their attention to detail is so incredible that they had someone embroider stools and things like that. It's like such detail. And the Snuggly Duckling Inn is a restaurant, and there's also a Peter Pan restaurant. Like you're in the forest with the Lost Boys outfits hanging above you like on a clothesline.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. Is this the video that they had in the...
Yeah, this is the video on the
neat.
page of the model that they built for the Arendelle area.
It's only a model.
And it's, yeah, I mean, one of the things that we learned by going to Tokyo Disneyland, they don't skimp. I mean, they're on it. They spend what they need to spend to really make it detailed. We were so impressed with their stuff. And there's honestly, I could so go back just like any time. If we only had the money. There's still a lot we didn't see that I'd love to.
Oh, the Snuggly Duckling is a counter-service restaurant inspired by the tavern where the local rough and tumble crowd gathers in the feature film.
So I guess all of these rides...
Oh, yeah.
I guess all of these rides are one area, just, like Galaxy's Edge. It's just called Fantasy Springs.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was Snuggly Duckling the place that was in...
it was the bar
Tangled?
in Rapunzel.
Yeah, Tangled, yeah.
Tangled,
okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And apparently the Frozen ride takes you through the town of Arendelle, but also through the entire house with a conservatory, garden, sewing room, and more.
Wow. If we go to the Snuggly Duckling, do we get to like have all of the really scary toughs who
Probably.
do it? Let me see if there's another video of. Now this ride car for Peter Pan is pretty interesting. It's like the
Neat.
back end of a boat, but it's all made out of scrap.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this looks very similar
Three
to
rows.
the ride car for like Snow White or something like that.
Yeah, Snow White or Alice or that kind of thing.
What
just
is that one?
more detailed? It's the Tinkerbell attraction.
Oh,
Oh,
I
okay.
missed the Tinkerbell. I hadn't gotten that far yet. That's fun.
Here's the video.
I love things where they put you, like they build everything giant, so you feel like you're tiny.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is the video of the Peter Pan.
Oh man, now I
segment.
want to go back to Japan.
Yeah, but we got to
here's
wait till
the-
all this stuff is open.
No.
There was so much we didn't see in Japan, and I mean, I'm sure we could find stuff to entertain ourselves.
Yeah.
Skull Rock. and-
That's not actually the problem, Sean.
Yeah, I know. It all comes down to money and time, man.
Yeah.
Money and time. I'm telling you, you can you can work from anywhere in the world.
Big pile of cash.
Yeah.
I wish I could work from anywhere in the world. I keep looking for cool jobs everywhere, and I'm failing. Anyway, this is crazy detailed. The site, if you want to go, is TDR Explorer, and it goes on and on.
And the gentleman who runs TDR Explorer, he's so friendly and just wonderful. I really enjoyed watching all of his videos because he really just seems to enjoy all of his reviews and things like that. And he's the kind of person who you feel like you could hang out with. So that's always nice.
That's always important. One of the problems I have, and I don't mean to slight anybody who does this, but one of the problems I have with a lot of videos, and one of the reasons that I don't do this myself at Disneyland, is that I feel like it's about the personality of the person doing the videos and less about the content they're trying to show you. And I always feel that that's kind of a bummer. And then and I also see where they're sort of disrupting people's day at Disneyland. And I don't want to do that. And in fact, I was just having that discussion with some cast members over at Galaxy's Edge. It's exactly what we don't want to do with Life Day. Like, we don't want to blow it for any people who are going to Galaxy's Edge for the first time, spent like a whole bunch of money to get into Disneyland and they want to have a Star Wars experience, we don't want to ruin it.
I
for
don't
them.
think we do, because
We
so
do
many
not.
people
I
come
am
in costume,
assured
and we
that
are
we do not.
so inclusive. Because whenever we do the Life Day carols, everybody is all crowded into this huge area. There's like a bantha door, and so there's a big area around there, and everybody crowds in and they sing the songs. And I stand at the very back of the crowd, and I have music sheets that I am handing out to everybody who even pauses to consider, what is this large group of people? And I invite them to join. And it really, I've seen a lot of people, I've seen people run back into the marketplace and buy the Wookiee Snuggies in order to come out and participate.
And the glowing orbs. Somebody was asking me, like, aren't you upset that Disney has taken your little maker project of glowing orbs and they now sell them for like $20?
First of all, Disneyland owns the IP on that.
They do. That's thing one. But thing two is that anybody who wants to, like, so last year they didn't get the orbs in time, but they did have Christmas ornaments, and a whole bunch of people kept going to buy the Christmas ornaments.
The only problem with that was that somebody dropped one.
They were glass, which is a problem.
So, but
Jeff's got
cast
his
members
orb
were
there.
right on it, getting that cleaned
Batteries
up.
are still working.
That's funny.
Nice.
But yeah, it's one of those things where if people want to participate, they can. It's like Dapper Day. Dapper Day should not intrude on anyone else's day at Disneyland. It should just be people in nice clothes hanging out.
You get extra enjoyment if you participate
exactly
in the additional event.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like an overlay.
Yes.
Of the park.
And which is what Life Day is. It's an overlay on the land, and which is what Colleen and I have been doing for a long time. We did 1955 Day that way. We did the Indiana Jones scavenger hunts that way, and you shouldn't be a bother to anybody when you do it. But people who want to participate should have a really good time.
Oh, yeah, totally.
All right, let's move on to trailers. There's a UK release on August 16th of something called TIM.
Mm-hmm. Tim the Enchanter.
I
think it's a lot like Megan.
It
the doll thing.
It is one in a long line of AI robots that mess with your life.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt and say something right now?
Yeah, what do you want to say?
I've never noticed before that on Facebook, our video is being live captioned.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Weird.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I remember when you needed court reporters to do that.
Right, and now they don't always get it right, but they try. So.
Right, yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
It makes me want to say funny words though to see if it'll get it. Like scrumdiddlyumptious.
Anyway.
Audio vibratory physiomolecular transport device.
It got
Liz,
scrumdiddles.
Is asking about Dapper Day. That was where the people come dressed up as sort of 50s-ish clothing, and around the park.
Yeah, the idea behind Dapper Day is that they wanted people to attend the park in the clothing that you saw in the early days of Disneyland, and especially in the concept art, where people were in suits and skirts and whatever. The original opening of Disneyland was a big problem because a lot of women showed up in high heels and they got their shoes stuck in the asphalt. It was a different time.
Yeah.
Fewer shorts and T-shirts than today.
And what we did, which predated Dapper Days, was 1955 Day, where we all dressed as if we were going on opening day.
Yes, and we gave you the tickets and the pamphlets and things. We gave you history in the morning, and then we tried to ride as many of the attractions as we could chronologically. So, like, the Jungle Cruise is a 1955 ride, and then, like, 1963 is the Pirates, and 1969 is Haunted Mansion, all that kind of stuff. And so you could do that in sort of an order, which was fun.
Okay, coming to Hulu on September 14th, Theater Camp. This looks like a series, and
can I back up a little bit?
to talk about Tim?
Yeah, just the thing about Tim is it is a here is a robot that has entered your life to make it easier.
Right.
And then
it was creepy.
It involves a couple, and it does these sort of, I, the robot, am going to squeeze out the human male in this couple. At least that's what it appears like.
Totally.
And it gets really weird. And it's not the only movie this week that has that vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is really
that
kind
was
of funny.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, theater camp is exactly what the title
Oh my
says.
God.
It's summer camp for theater kids. I don't think it's a teen sex comedy so much as a teen comedy. So like maybe geared at like, I don't know, 14, 15-year-olds.
I feel, and it's a Hulu series, and I feel like
Documentary.
yeah, it's probably a lot like High School Musical.
Meatballs with High School Musical, maybe.
Yeah,
Sort of, yeah.
and as a kid who used to do like the teen performing arts company stuff back in the day, I can kind of relate to what's going on with it, but it's a whole bunch of people that you do not know in it.
It looks like the kind of thing that like you're scrolling around looking for something to watch. You might land on that and watch it.
The big name that I recognize, but I am old, so don't take this for what it will. Amy Sedaris is in it.
Oh, I didn't even notice Amy Sedaris.
I don't think she was in the trailer.
Oh, well, there
I
you
don't
go.
remember seeing her in either.
Okay, coming to Paramount Plus in the fall is Good Burger 2, which, no.
Yeah, I didn't see the first one.
It's just not my thing. I'm sure some people had fun with Good Burger 1, but it's,
Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell were in the original, and they're back. But the original one was in like 1997. So it's been a little while.
you kind of wonder if society has changed at all, and if it's too much the same, if people will be mad about it.
Right. You know who else was in the original movie?
No.
Linda Cardellini,
Well,
Sinbad,
Yeah.
Sinbad.
Abe Vigoda,
Wow.
and Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay. Coming to theaters on October 6th, Foe, which is the second movie that is about a robot squeezing someone out.
Yeah. And
Weird.
it's like 2065 or something. The cast is like a good cast, but it also looks really weird. It's like they're sending the male of the couple into space, so that he can do a thing. And of course, they're gonna move a robot into the house. Saoirse Ronan is in it, and so she's the female of the couple. Paul Mescal is the man, and they're like booting him out, and it's just weird. It's just really very strange idea.
And they don't really show I don't think they show the robot.
No,
They're going to replace him with at all in the trailer.
not really.
So,
and it's also this weird low-tech, high-tech thing. It's like you get to go work on the high-tech space thing instead of working your generational farm. And that's really kind of strange too.
The other theme for this week was a mix of technology and old school things.
Yeah.
Because the next trailer we have is for a Netflix movie, I think, called Rebel Moon, that's coming on December 22nd. And it was like this weird mashup of science fiction and high fantasy.
Yeah. It's
weird.
It's by Zack Snyder, 300, and Justice League and all that.
So I watched the whole trailer and I'm like, this is weird. And then it said by Zack Snyder, and I went, okay,
less weird.
Explained, less weird.
Yeah. It's supposed to be his take on Star Wars, I guess. So
it didn't feel Star Wars.
It's so
at
high
all.
fantasy.
It's felt way more high fantasy.
And I mean, some of the people involved are great because it's a Zack Snyder thing. First off, Anthony Hopkins is doing the narration. Sounding a little old, but he's doing the narration. Carrie Elwes from The Princess Bride is in it.
Yeah.
Ed Skrein's there. Jimin Hunsu is in it. Because who doesn't want to do a Zack Snyder project? Everybody's kind of jumping in. And I thought I saw, but I guess I didn't because his name's not in the credits. What's the guy that I really don't like? Who's in the new...
Jared Leto?
Jared Leto.
Oh, no. Always.
And
I don't
I
think he's in it.
thought he was in it, but he's not. I will say that a friend of ours, Gordon Tarpley, is in it, which is cool. He does a lot of droids and creatures and stuff. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But this is one of those cast of thousands kind of movies.
Yeah. This is only part 1.
And it's part 1 of 2, and it is like sword and sorcery and high tech at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it's really weird. And I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out. But it's coming to Netflix. It's not even in theaters. It's coming to Netflix.
Yeah.
Wow.
In these 2 big parts.
Sean, do you want to take the next section?
I will. Gratefully, we don't have too many people in our, rest in peace section. Sadly, Hersha Parody passed away. You might remember her as the school teacher, Alice Garvey, in Little House on the Prairie.
The second school teacher.
She met a tragic end series. Did she die in a fire?
She did. She, the blind school caught on fire, and she ran into the blind school to try and save the children. And I think she saved all the children except Mary's baby.
Oh.
And so she
dear.
and Mary's baby died in the fire.
So anyway, she did 3 seasons as the school teacher. She died in Norfolk, Virginia.
Not in a fire.
Not in a fire. And she was married to Merlin Olsen on the show. It was kind of interesting. So anyway, so sad to hear of her passing as a fixture of our childhood television watching. And then this is a little closer to home. I just wanted to send out our condolences from the show to Rancho Obi-Wan president and CEO Ann Newman, whose husband Stu Levy passed away on Saturday. If you follow Rancho Obi-Wan, they do a large gala every year that's their primary fundraiser. So I was actually considering going to this year. And they have postponed it. They put it off because Anne usually puts it together. Her husband has been sick for a little while. He had a unknown illness that the doctors just could not peg down, and he seems to have passed away from it. He was a primary member of Rancho Obi-Wan. If you don't know what Rancho Obi-Wan is, it's the Steve Sansweet collection of Star Wars memorabilia. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest Star Wars collection on the planet. He used to write for the Wall Street Journal until he got hired as head of fan relations by Lucasfilm, and he did that for 15 years.
Was he right after Craig, or was there someone between them?
He was after Craig, but I don't know if there was anyone between them, because it was kind of a larger space, I think.
Oh, right, because there was a large period of time when they didn't need a fan relations coordinator, right?
Yeah, and so anyway, if you go to Star Wars Celebration at all, or any other place where Rancho Obi-Wan exhibits, you have probably met Anne. She's always there helping with logistics, and she's been a big part of the group, especially when they became a nonprofit 501c3 organization. So I just wanted to take a moment and to send our condolences officially to them. Really sad news. And her husband was a really great guy who was just very much in the back seat. He was there to help and did a lot of great stuff, and he was always there at the cons, which was really great. So very sad to hear of that news, because he went into the hospital so quickly and then passed away so quickly that there just wasn't any time for anything. It was really a bummer.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little less than 15 minutes left in the show. Do you want to do an
Hooray.
Ahsoka Tana quiz, or do you want to save that for next week?
I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
Quiz.
Quiz?
Okay.
I'm kind of brainiac, I know it all. Some kind of a whiz, got more answers than an almanac. Let's take a quiz. If you think you're extraordinary, cut above the best that there is. If your cranial capacity is something scary, let's take a quiz. Let's all take a quiz.
All right, Colleen's got a quiz. We're going to
And-
suck.
Thanks
Yeah.
to Star Wars Geek Girl and StarWars.com for this trivia. You will suck at the first one.
Oh, dear.
From which Inquisitor did Ahsoka take the Kyber crystals for her white lightsabers?
The 6th Inquisitor.
Whoa! I did not
this a-
expect you to get that. Okay.
I know this because... Did you know, Jeff? Did you know this one?
No, I didn't know which one it was.
I know this because there's a little bit of a gap in the lore where apparently she took the crystals, which were red, purified them into white, and then put them in her lightsabers.
Oh.
And it's one of those things. I don't think they showed us that.
They just told us about it?
Yeah, it's like a weird thing that I've just sort of filed away in my head.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Question 2. Which of the following actresses has not portrayed Ahsoka Tano?
Oh, boy.
Ashley Eckstein? Yes, no?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Lauren Mae Kim? Is that a yes, Sean?
Yes. It's
Okay.
a yes.
Rosario Dawson?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Sasha Banks?
I do not know Sasha Banks.
I don't.
She's-
I'm guessing Sasha's not the one that did
She's the one who hasn't portrayed Ahsoka.
Yeah.
3. On what planet did Ahsoka meet Anakin? Coruscant, Christophsis, sorry, Felucia, or Teth?
I thought it was
Christophsis.
Coruscant.
It's Christophsis.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Goes
in
to
the
Sean.
it was in the first
It was
movie.
there. It was at meeting him at the planet. I could have sworn it was on Coruscant, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
think they threw her at Anakin like in the middle of battle
Yeah,
on Christophsis.
Fail.
All right, this is a hard one. It comes from Rise of the Skywalker. What does Ahsoka say to Rey on Exegol in Rise of the Skywalker?
Oh shoot! I knew this at one point.
Pretty much the same thing everybody says to her. Or at least I thought. Maybe not.
Stop holding my hand. Oh no.
I mean, yeah, may the force be with you would be about it I could think of, but I don't know.
Rey.
She just says
Just
Ray.
says
Rey.
Ugh. Ray. Well,
I have no idea.
lame.
I hated that movie so much.
Who brought Ahsoka into the Jedi Order when she was 3 years old?
Plo Koon.
Yes.
Yeah.
By what nicknames do Anakin and Ahsoka call each other?
Snips
Sky
and
Guy
Sky
and Snips. Yeah.
How old was Ahsoka when the Clone Wars started?
9.
Nope.
Let me think.
Higher.
Probably like 13.
11.
No.
Right in between. What
Okay.
race is she? Or
To-
species?
She's Togruta.
She
Yeah.
is Togruta. Man, you are hard to fool. Here is one that I didn't know before today. Why did she walk away from the Jedi Order?
Like, it does. Do you want something very specific or something general?
You could say something general
Okay.
and then I'll fill in with the specific.
She was unhappy with the way the Jedi were being run.
Yeah. And accused of something she didn't do, I believe.
There
too.
you go.
Right, and yeah.
She was framed for the bombing of the Jedi Temple. She ran away, but was apprehended and brought to trial, stripped of her Padawan status, and expelled. Anakin proved that Barriss Offee had really done it, and Ahsoka was acquitted, but she rejected an offer to return to the temple.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up was Barriss Offee, who we always thought was like great, totally sold her out.
Was Barriss Offee the Jogbra
No,
Jedi? No.
No, that was Ayla Secura.
Oh.
The Barriss Offee was the green Padawan with the diamonds on her face.
Oh, okay. And the final question is, how did she come back to the Jedi Order? Or back to being a Jedi?
I didn't think she did.
Well, she doesn't really ever come back to being in the Jedi Order, but she does come back to help with the Force and everything, using her Force and everything.
Right.
So Bo-Katan asked her to ally with Anakin and Obi-Wan to fight Darth Maul. While she was in transit to deliver Darth Maul to the Jedi Council, Darth Sidious handed down Order 66. After a fight with Rex, who was, with the Order 66 trying to attack her.
Yeah.
Right.
She was able to remove his inhibitor chip, and they escaped. At the request of Bail Organa, she went into work with the Rebellion and the crew of the Ghost.
Yeah.
As Fulcrum, yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. You guys did really well.
I did better than I thought I would, I must say.
Yeah, I did incredibly poorly, so, they were good.
You got some of them, though.
Yeah.
So that's good. Jeff, you want to grab a last topic here?
Okay. Here's what I threw in there because I thought it was darn funny, and I'm just going to see if I can locate it by scrolling over the darn document. There it is. In that, the Blindjet 2 now has a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Blindjet. I thought it was funny as heck, but it was like, of all the things that...
And that's a blender.
Yeah, it's like a little hand blender, like a small
it's
personal
not like
blender or whatever you want to call that.
A piece of software or a toy.
Yeah.
It's a blender.
Portable. Yeah. it's got some turtles all over it, and like what? Of all the things.
Right.
That's
that
bizarre.
was hysterical. But, whatever.
I wanted to mention that if you have plans to go to, or maybe you already live in Bristol, England, and you plan to go there in 2025, you'll have the opportunity to go on a Wallace and Gromit trail, which has big statues of
Wallace and Gromit?
They have Long John Wallace. Oh, this is they've done this before, and in the past they did one that had Long John Wallace, which is basically Wallace is a pirate, and they had previously they had a total of 45 individually decorated Shaun the Sheeps in Newcastle City Center this summer. So they're going to be doing a new one. And on the 2018 trail, they also had Gnome Sweet Gnome Wallace. So head out and check that out.
Nice.
Sean?
Nice.
Last thing, and then you can wrap us up.
Sure. It's me, Mario, but not for very much longer. Charles Martinet is retiring from voicing Mario. He's been doing it forever. He started in 1991, and his first big deal was with the Super Mario 64 game in 1996, and that pretty much set the tone for all the Marios to follow. And he also did Luigi and Wario and Waluigi and all that in over 150 Nintendo games.
Would you guys mind if I jumped in with one more item?
No.
Or-
Okay, I have a friend who went to the Winter Garden Theater in New York today and saw Back to the Future the musical, and she gave a review of it. So I wanted to share what her review is.
Okay.
She says, I thought it would either be bad or more likely so bad it was great. To my surprise, it was really good. The songs were fine, no breakouts, but Mayor Goldie's song was the best. But I also wasn't cringing or eye-rolling at any of them, and it was the musical part of this that had me concerned before I saw it. That being said, the set design was incredible. Oh my god, and the car, so cool. Marty's voice, the actor who played Marty, was so similar to Michael J. Fox's, it was actually kind of weird. And Doc was a bit more hyper and silly than the movie Doc, but in an endearing way, so I wasn't mad about it. She said there's one plot point that they changed. I don't know what that is, but she understands why they did it. The DeLorean really was the star, and they really showed it off during the finale. So, if you're in New York, go see Back to the Future.
It's I've been following it since they first announced it, which was pretty great. The guy who's playing Doc, by the way, won a Tony Award for playing Snoopy in the revival of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Oh, cool.
And he also got a nomination for playing Carmen Gia in The Producers, when The Producers came out. He's known for being really goofy and playing those kind of parts. And he met with Chris Lloyd and talked about being Doc and all that kind of stuff before he did it.
The North American tour will start in the summer of 2024, less than a year after the show's Broadway opening.
Oh, cool.
And if you're a TV person, if you remember the old George Carlin show from the 1990s, he was George's son. That Doc guy playing Doc.
Oh, cool.
Was pretty cool.
Okay.
I guess that's about it for us. I wanted to jump in with one last thing that I don't even think is on our list. What?
Well, neither was this. We're just, poor Jeff. We're both jumping in with things.
Well, he can jump in.
I don't have anything.
He can jump in next. I just wanted to say congratulations to India and the Chandrayaan-3 moon landing. They landed at the south pole of the moon, where we've never been. And just after the Russians tried to land on the moon, and they biffed it. They made a new crater in the moon. And India, who I didn't even know was trying a moonshot, had a perfect landing on the moon. Congratulations to those guys. It's absolutely amazing. They landed with a ship. They deployed a rover. Super cool. And in fact, there's a Google Doodle today on the Google main page for it that will give you a link to all the cool news stories, which are great. All right, what do you got, Jeff? Anything?
Sure. What I've got here is I'm looking for the name, but I guess they don't have a name yet. Over at the Tennessee Zoo. Yeah, the Tennessee Zoo. So the most bright story we got on there was a giraffe that was born, but it has 0 spots. It is just sort of a shade of tannish brown color.
I had
the
a
way down.
Dalmatian that didn't have spots.
Yeah. The last one, apparently, it says that was 4 years ago in Tokyo, and before that in Uganda. But it's not something that's very common. It's very very rare. And I'm looking. They don't have a name yet. I don't see one.
Well, didn't they make it a contest or something? You're allowed to submit names. I think you're allowed to submit your own name to the zoo.
Oh, could be, yeah.
For what you think it should be called.
Coco.
Oh, yeah, there it is, yeah. Naming contest, yes.
And I have to say, and I have a picture of it up there right now, this is a Christmas special in the making, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, something the spotless giraffe. It's like a holiday special that is going to happen with this thing. I foresee Rankin and Bass coming out to do it. It's cute, even though it has no spots.
Yeah.
It's but now it has all this room for a Halloween costume. Somebody can come in and spray spots.
Totally.
On
See.
All right, you got to wrap us up now, Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Rose, we talked about I talked about the marriage thing earlier in the show.
Yes, we did covered that at the very top of the show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That is it for us. If you have been listening to us on Sci-Fi.radio, thank you so much for doing so. We're very grateful that you do. That is a listener-supported radio station. Any money that doesn't come in from Patreon or PayPal or other donations has to come out of the pocket of the people who run it. That includes licensing music, because we're not a pirate station. That includes bandwidth and server space, which we moved to Canada because it's cheaper. We're not being frivolous with the money here, but anything that doesn't come out has to come out of the station owner's pocket. Not us. It's all them. So if you can help out, we're grateful if you do that. You could be watching us on my Facebook page, on YouTube, on Twitch. YouTube is a great place to send people if you want to tell people about the show, because those episodes pretty much live up there forever. And then, of course, I'll be on the air tomorrow. We'll do Good Morning Tatooine as usual and wrap out the week, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to come hang out with me there, and Jeff, who's on Discord, and a whole bunch of great people there, we will totally enjoy you doing that. But other than that, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We appreciate your time.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always, may the Force
be
with you. Get you guys some credits over on the video side of thing. Chris Cosmomoose Medway does our theme. You can find him at cosmomoose.bandcamp.com. Big thanks to Kit for putting our control document together. We're very grateful for that. And all the hard work that she puts in. So, yay. And for you guys hanging out on the chat, thanks for being there. Bye, video people.
Night.
Good night, guys.